Three,
Go.
2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show where at least one of the hosts is slightly hungover. That may be me, but there may be another one. I don't know. I don't know what this bit is, but we also are joined by. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. I should say that at the top. If you're a new time listener, if this is your first time listening to Ring Post Radio, we thank you. If you're a long time listener, we thank you still. We just, I guess, love you a little bit more. No, we love everybody all the same. I'm Ryan. I'm joined by Scotty. Scotty, I don't have visual. Let me adjust my tuning docks. Might spin some dials over here and see if I can harness the visual for Scott E. Edwards. Like your middle name's E or something. Scott Edwards. Scotty, are you there? Are you there, Scotty?
Listen, this wasn't a planned bit in any means. I did a recording last night, had a background that was mostly just to make the other people pop because it was just a regular recording. There was no video proponent to it.
Perfect.
And then I saw what it was when I was signing in today. I accidentally had my camera off. That wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is
but
like
now that
a Easter egg to another podcast you've done.
yeah, a little bit. Which people may find out one way or the other if they listen to both. Which, if that's the case, thank you.
Mhm.
But the background's just really funny, so I thought I'd keep myself shielded until the show went live, right? And maybe a few people get watching.
Yeah.
But it is quite funny. So now I will return to the crowd here. I have a background that, of course, is Tam Nakano versus Tam Nakano happening next week at New Blood, so that's exciting. It was almost unimaginable what my background would have been, I think. I don't think Ryan would have came close. My microphone's absolutely cutting out my entire shoulder, so that's great. But we're here. Very newsworthy week. Not a lot of wrestling this week. You know why I know it's not a lot of wrestling? Because I've mostly caught up on wrestling. And that doesn't happen. So lots going on this week, obviously, in terms of news, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. I think I watched like 2 matches from Ring of Honor this week.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I can't be bothered this week.
I'll be honest, Ring of Honor is starting to die down for me, and I just want I pray for that Universal taping to come faster. I'm just like, oh, come on, baby, let's get some good stuff.
At least we get Claudio and Robbie Eagles next week.
Yeah, I mean that's starting to be like, it's starting to become that for me, which is like,
I need New Japan to step in and
anything. It's gonna be, instead of like, oh, I'm gonna watch every single match, it's starting to become, oh, I'll watch this one match or these 2 matches or something, that get some sort of praise. But
I've quickly gone from every match to I'm not gonna.
Well, because also, like, the last episode was like an hour long, which is great, not 2 hours, but then it's like 10 matches, all like less than 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was AEW Dark to the absolute bone.
I found where AEW Dark Elevation went. It's on Thursdays on Honor Club. That's where it went. Anyways, enough about Ring of Honor. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of like news and previews and stuff. Not really stuff. We have a couple matches we're going to review from New Japan. But we also got Golden Week coming up next week for not New Japan, but just Japanese fans of wrestling. Some Puro fans, Joshi fans. You got a lot of Japanese wrestling coming your way next week for Golden Week. We have Backlash, WWE's Backlash pay-per-view coming out of Puerto Rico this Saturday. We also have a bunch of other news bits that we'll get to. Was there anything else I'm forgetting? No, I think that's pretty much everything. I think we got right on track, and we got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, and we're excited to talk about all of it with you. Is there anything else more to say, Scotty? I think we just go straight into the news.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff this week. even stuff that we won't cover, like the Champion Carnival Finals, which I don't think are set yet.
There's that CMLL show I wanted to this it was 87th anniversary to Arena Mexico show that happened on
Oh
Friday,
yeah,
but that's not
I,
coming out
I I
forever.
see like a million graphics of their things,
Yeah,
and it's like this millionth anniversary. I'm like, how many fucking anniversaries does this company have?
a lot. I
I
mean,
was like,
they've been around for a long time.
yeah, they're old, but
I also
yeah,
saw a lot of big things about the Prestige show last night. I saw a couple Rex
mhm.
flying around for the Prestige show last night, especially
I heard
the tag
I
match.
heard Robert Martyr versus Daniel Garcia was quite good.
I
So
heard that was good. I heard the C4 versus Midnight Heat tag team title match was good. And so I'm like, all right, I'll go check that out. I like both of those teams.
yep, no cage match coming through to tell me if a match was good or not. But it's okay. It's okay. I expect people to head over there and review in a while. I keep forgetting my backgrounds here, so every time I come back to the screen, I am terrified.
I wish you
But
like photoshopped your face onto both of Tam Nakano's faces.
no one will see
It's
that.
Scotty
No one will
Edwards
see
versus Scotty Edwards. It's
that.
the
That's me at about 3 a.m. every night. Thank you.
it's it's the Joshi world Scotty Edwards versus the Ring Post Radio Scotty Edwards.
Hell of a fight.
Hell of a fight right there,
Hell
baby.
of a fight.
But let's get to the news itself. We got a bunch of contract news to start off it all. A bunch of debuts and contract signings all at the wazoo. Some big names.
Everything the same week, huh?
Everything the same week. Everyone's getting ready. Everyone's prepping for Golden Week, apparently. Everything happening this week. So we had a big shocker of a surprise. Roderick Strong popping up on AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. No one had a single idea this was happening.
Nope.
Not a single outlet heard that and was able to confirm that he left NXT at any point in time. They were able to at least know he wants out, and then that's the last we heard of it for months.
It's like WWE helped AEW
In a
get a
weird way.
surprise.
Yeah.
Like, by not saying anything about this guy, they were like, yeah, everyone just assumes he still works here, right? He was on the roster page. They didn't do anything to tell us he wouldn't be like
Yeah.
it would be possible. And we got a legitimate, genuine surprise for the first time in who knows how long.
Mhm.
Like, when's the last time we got a surprise like this?
That like completely had no clue was happening.
Yeah, like no one had an idea.
I don't
Like,
I don't know because like WWE always publishes their releases. That's what shocked about me.
exactly. And I can't say like Danielson and Adam Cole. I guess that would be like the closest thing,
Yeah.
but we knew they were going there. I guess Adam Cole wasn't as for sure.
That you Adam Cole wasn't as for sure, but we knew that his contract was up.
Exactly. With Roddy, it's like
We knew nothing.
no. And to go off of that, I mean, obviously it's a fantastic signing. This is Roderick Strong. This is like one of the few guys who went into the NXT Performance Center system and just mostly stayed himself.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's not going to be much stink as, we talk about here on the show.
Mm-hmm.
There won't be that much. The only stink I think he'll have is rust because he hasn't wrestled in forever.
I mean, I'm sure he's like been doing mat work and training and stuff, but like, he hasn't done like crowd stuff yet in a long
he seems very determined.
Yes. And we're gonna see him. And we're gonna see him this upcoming Wednesday. In an 8-man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wish his opponents were different, but it should be a good match nonetheless. He should be on every show possible. He should be on Ring of Honor, obviously, as kind of like Mr. ROH.
Yep.
He should be on AEW, and so this is the interesting topic I wanted to talk about with you. How do you feel about him going with Adam Cole right off the bat, right? Because remember, part of the problem, when Adam Cole came in and then Kyle came in and then Bobby came in, was that they were all together.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like, come on, let's move on from the Undisputed Era. Though for me, I thought it was good. And I thought it was fitting of it because to me, I didn't feel, oh, this is the Undisputed Era. This is a friend helping a friend more so rather than when they did it.
I think That's a good question, because I was also one of those people that was like a big complainer about like, oh, I don't give a crap about the Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
I think it's fine because we already got the Undisputed Era in AEW, and like we did the whole thing. We got we got through that system. Now, if
Yeah.
they formally reunite Strong, O'Reilly, and Cole as a faction and do faction stuff with them, then maybe I'll be like, okay, I don't necessarily care about that. That being said,
That was the
Strong
best version.
Strong and O'Reilly, and you're right. Strong, O'Reilly, and Cole were the best version of Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
So I think that remains to be seen. I think for right now, I completely agree. It was like a friend helping a friend. And then because it also played up into the idea of like Orange Cassidy and Bandito were already out there, so it wasn't like O'Reilly and Cole were out there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it allowed for like the delay of other people helping out, and then it became like another person. Oh, it happened to Roderick Strong, and they have a history. So I think it played into that. But yeah, it also made sense because you're gonna have to like tie him to Adam Cole again because of their history. You're going to have to. He's obviously going to be a babyface, so you team up with Adam Cole. That's fine. If he stays here or not, or if he goes to Ring of Honor or not, who knows? I would love to see him in Ring of Honor. I think that would be a nice little spot for Roderick Strong. I don't know. I know Marina Shafir has done some Ring of Honor spots, quote unquote, I guess, for Ring of Honor so far. So I think that'd be nice. I'm glad to see him here.
Yeah. I walked out of this and I was like, and I forget if this was before or after. I think it was obviously before. And I thought about it, I was like, and I know that they have a different vision for this, obviously. But I was thinking at the time, I was like, he would have been a good fit for the Blackpool Combat Club.
Roderick
He
Strong.
would have been he would have been a great fit. And then if they wanted to put Marina, obviously after the Moxley comments too, they could have done that if they wanted to add a woman. Because Moxley was so, but not yet because they're in a feud with the Elite, but maybe somewhere down the line. That was the one other spot I thought he would have made sense. If they wanted to have him be the new fit guy, had Takeshita. I have worries Takeshita will be sticking in the Elite, and I think a lot of people have talked about that, just because like someone made the great point of like, well, now he's bled with them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of how Wheeler Yuta.
But a lot of people have bled with them, and they
This
don't
is
get
true.
invited in.
This is true. It remains to be seen, but I think a lot of people are trying to hold out for Kota Ibushi, obviously.
I've been the big proponent of Kota Ibushi joining BCC, not Takeshita. That's what I've been pushing for.
I think
that's more interesting. I think it's more interesting if Ibushi joins BCC simply because then we get Murder Ibushi like all the time. Number one. Number two, Omega versus Ibushi can happen. Number three, Ibushi versus Paige, Ibushi versus Nick Jackson. And yeah, Ibushi versus Takeshita. I would rather see all those things.
But I come back to you, Ibushi versus Danielson, Ibushi versus
Claudio. I know. That's also be good.
Ibushi versus Moxley.
That would also be good.
It's a win-win, and I do think I think it. Listen, it's like the worst kept secret by now. Ibushi's going to show up eventually. It's just a matter of in what scenario.
Yes.
I think more than anything.
Yes.
But yeah, with the Roderick Strong thing, that was like the one thing I thought I was like, man, he would have fit right in with them.
Yeah, you could do that if you tie Cole back to the Elite. You know what I mean? But
yeah, you could.
Easily you could do that. I don't know if they will yet.
Let's just start cooking up Claudio versus Roddy. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, baby, yeah, baby.
Why wait?
Yeah,
why even wait? Let's just when's Death Before Dishonor? Not anytime soon. But whenever that starts to come around, and Eddie Kingston's probably not good yet. You just do that, and no one will bat an eye. Everyone will be pretty happy. Or Samoa Joe versus Roddy. Just give me Roddy versus Everett.
I agree. Speaking of contract signings, we also have the confirmed news that one Suzuki has signed the dotted line, folks. We thought it was going to happen. We both had the the very big feeling that it was going to happen. Wink, wink. And it happened. Suzuki coming to Stardom. I'm very excited about that. You and I have praised her before. You and I have called her a young prodigy before, and I think you would agree with me here. Sky is the limit for one Suzu Suzuki in Stardom.
Yeah, I mean, she's my second favorite wrestler, so, the fact that I get to see her more is never a bad thing. The fact that now she's going to go to the top of Stardom is not a bad thing. It's become pretty evident in a few days where she's going to be slotted in. Became pretty evident since she debuted last year where she's gonna be slotted in the moment she'd signed, with this company. I feel like I've said every time we've ever reviewed a show with her on it that there is this big fat contract sitting next to her, every night.
Yeah.
Ross is just like, "Here, take it home, sign it when you feel like it."
Think about it.
Um,
Think about it for
yeah,
a bit.
and it was just a matter of not if but when, and I always felt that way. I always felt it would be sooner than a lot of other people believe. They really, they really listen to the Suzuki Loves death matches and stuff like that. And obviously, you should because she does. But I was like, she's not going to hold out long enough. I mean, they've pretty much given her the keys without giving her the keys, if that's possible, right? They've they've uh they've pushed her to the moon as far as they can without her being employed to this company. She was one win within winning, going to the finals of the 5 star. Um, she she was part of the most dominant trio, or one of the most dominant trios in Stardom history. She won countless big matches in the 5 star against like some of their biggest names, and now she's locked in. And now she's locked in. This is like the moment she signed, it's like, okay, now she's next up. It almost was like everyone move out of the way, everyone move a little further back in the line. Now she feels like the favorite to eventually win both the top titles, win the 5 star Grand Prix. Like it changes everything. She's only 20 years old. It's actually unfair that we're saying this, but like she is such a higher level than mostly everybody even near her age in wrestling, and that's saying something when I'm talking about a company that has Starlight Kid and Azumi and and Hanan and May Sarah, all these young wrestlers who are obviously the future of this business, but she's just another level above them. So it'll be interesting to see what's next for her. Based off of this weekend shows, she is already well on her way to being one of the top stars. And now we'll have to wait and see where she slots in terms of faction wise and stuff like that. But that's part of the fun. Big time signing. Big time making her, making Stardom her official home. And obviously, I'm very excited.
Oh, same here. Same here. I totally think this is a good spot for her. We've talked about it for a very long time that we were excited to see if she will stick around here. And she is. And she is. I am I'm slightly disappointed, not fully disappointed, but slightly disappointed that it's just her. I
Yeah,
would have liked to see maybe a Risa Sarah join her a little bit. That still remains to be seen. But I think, Suzuki is a fantastic pickup for any company. Stardom is obviously the biggest Joshi company in the world. Remains to be seen with Spark in California. But we are. I think this is a good pick. I think it's a good pickup, and I think it's definitely something you got to do. And I'm excited to see where she goes. I think you're right.
it,
We're
it
excited to see where she shows up on the card, where she is. I think 5 stars is gonna be fascinating now that she's like fully under contract.
yeah.
Um, I'm very excited to see her.
I think this should go without saying. It is the biggest signing they could have had.
Yes. Well, Mercedes notwithstanding.
Well, I mean, listen, they Stardom themselves aren't gonna ever re-sign or full time sign her.
No.
Not just them. So I don't, I I don't really count Mercedes in any scenario anymore. She's just a being that is so above like everything.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I get you. I get
yeah.
you.
So in terms of like believable signings,
Yeah.
Suzu was the biggest, and
Well, she's the
they got her.
investment. She's the investment. You do the bankroll for Monet, and then you invest in Suzuki.
Mm.
That's the idea.
That's a good one.
Thank you, sir. Speaking about bankrolls, probably Naomi, or rather Trinity, has shown up in Impact, made her debut on Impact at the taping over the weekend, and then wrestled a match as well over the weekend, and it was all announced on Impact Twitters and whatnot. So yes, Naomi, now Trinity in Impact. All the waiting on to see what happens with Stardom, with New Japan, with AEW, WWE. Looks like that all kind of went away, and she has landed herself in Impact. What do you think about her in Impact? Did she make an impact for you?
People are gonna find this cruel, and she has a lot of fans. A lot of fans. This isn't a bad thing that I'm about to say. This is a good thing. But if she left on her own accord and not alongside Mercedes Moné, I think everyone would have probably said Impact was the landing spot originally.
Agreed.
It's just the truth. And, people acting like, oh my God, Impact got Naomi. I was like, I mean, folks, it's not, it's a spot where they have a respectable women's division. And it's a spot where, they need someone like her. She brings in star power. I'm not going to deny that whatsoever. Anyone that comes from WWE that isn't released or, right, kind of, because a lot of people release. But as we've seen with Impact, anyone from WWE that had a following is a bigger get than anything else. But that was my ultimate feeling when everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe she's going to Impact. I was like, I mean, I can.
If she went to Impact months ago, I would probably be more shocked than I am now.
Sure.
Like there was the rumors that maybe she might be going back to WWE with the whole Triple H thing, and then Vince came back in power, and then felt like that kind of fell through. We heard a couple weeks ago that there was interest for her to join Stardom, and then it was a money thing. Not necessarily Mercedes Moné, well, probably a Mercedes Moné money thing. And then AEW,
not if Impact signed her.
That's true. Well, a money thing on Stardom's end, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Money on their end if they thought it was worth it.
Yeah, because if I was Stardom and I only had enough money to sign either Monet or Trinity, I mean, come on, I'm signing Monet. No offense to Trinity, but I mean, come on, we got to be realistic here. And then obviously, if AEW was interested in her, she would have shown up in AEW. I think that because that would probably definitely been more money than Impact is probably offering. So yeah, I think it's, and that all being said, that is what's great about a promotion like Impact is that when WWE is on a alleged talent freeze, when AEW is just maybe not interested, or same thing, because it's also, you got the Trinity thing, but you also have Nick Aldis, right? He just signed with Impact as well. And if AEW is not interested in you for whatever reason, and WWE is not signing you, and Stardom doesn't have enough money to sign you, then Impact is right there, and Impact reaps the benefits of all these other things. So Impact is going to get a lot more eyes on them. The first match with Trinity is with Kylan King, I think a great up and comer. And I'm sure that match was pretty good. I don't know anything, but I presume that match is going to be pretty good. And yeah, I think it's like, they reap the benefits of what other companies. What's the pros of being an Impact is that you can get these sort of things that help your promotion even more. Yeah, I would have liked to see her showed up months ago somewhere else, and that would have been more of a shock of a surprise. But after because for me, it feels like this was her last pick. If she had to pick schools, this is the one that was like, all right, this is a pretty good scholarship. This is not my first choice, not my second choice, and not really my third choice. But I'll take it. This is the only one that's really got the money and the desire to have me. It feels like so. That all being said, I think she's going to be making waves, hopefully, in Impact. I hope that I don't know how she's going to be without some of that WWE stink. I don't know. The Impact doesn't really get a lot of WWE stink off of you. It's more about like how you can do individually.
She's only ever done WWE. So.
Exactly. She's WB trained, FCW trained. I'm fascinated to see what happens there. She's already setting up. I saw a little bit of the clip that she's already setting up a little bit of a promo or a feud with Deonna Purrazzo, the Impact Women's Champion. So there's that. I don't know. Who knows? You know, I doubt it's gonna happen. But she's an Impact. She has she can do indie dates. You know, will Trinity be coming to a town near you? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a good move for Impact to have her. And yeah, it's a no-brainer signing for them.
Yeah, it brings them star power. Even if I think, even if I said how I said it, right, with the Mercedes aspect, I think it's still a lot of star power for them that they're not used to. It does. I do wonder what AEW's doing sometimes.
What do you mean?
I mean, listen, I was honest about that, in that I think Impact isn't that shocking of a spot. That being said, AEW probably should have went for Trinity. Again, star power. You get a member of the bloodline. Jokingly, but not jokingly. But it just feels like someone that actually would have brought interest to their women's division. That I think obviously they have some, and with the Outcast story, maybe would have made some sense. Maybe you could have had them in that. It's just, to me, and this was more months ago than it is now, just because of the popularity she got. Sure, you couldn't get Mercedes Moné right off the bat.
Yeah,
could have got Trinity. Trinity would have been probably a good start to get Mercedes Moné. You know, that alone almost would have been worth it. I truthfully, I think they have one big chip that may get them there, or one of them there eventually.
Yeah,
and it happens to be the guy that everyone hates. So, oops. But I think it's a good sign. It's a great signing for Impact. I should preface that, like, this is the type of signing that if they can make it, they make it.
Yes.
And it's a good spot for her to kind of find herself as a wrestler. Too.
Agreed.
That a non-WWE wrestler, right?
Like we said, this is her first time in a non-WWE ring ever in her wrestling career.
Yeah. So good luck to her. Listen. It's doing the job. It's making me go out of my way to see it. I'm going to go out of my way to see her first match, and probably for her first couple matches.
Yeah,
I want to see how she does. Because I don't expect her to be, one, she hasn't wrestled in forever again. Right? She hasn't wrestled in over a year.
Yeah.
Two, I want to just see how it seemed like she did have that big star feel, comparably to the rest of the roster from the videos I've seen.
Yes.
Which is obviously great. And debuting her in Chicago, obviously a great move, because
good
Chicago.
crowd. Good crowd to debut in front of. Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah, I think that's someone to watch, basically. Other news.
Her versus Deonna at Slammiversary is actually a huge match. Probably your main event.
Yes. I was trying to think
bigger than Aldis and Macklin. No offense to them.
I was trying to think. I was like, who would the other one be? It probably would be Aldis and Macklin. That'd be interesting. I feel like if you do Aldis Macklin, you should have Mickie James back. But you could have Mickie James in the women's match with Trinity. You could do that. That might be a good idea to maybe save Trinity a little bit. I don't know. Let's move on. NXT Women's Injury Epidemic. That is what I have written down here, folks. If you've been keeping up with Twitter, if you've been reading the Observer, you can see that there is some odd 8 women's wrestlers all injured. There's more people injured in NXT than feels like ever before. And according to Dave from the Wrestling Observer, as noted last week, there are a number
from the Wrestling.
Yeah, you may or may not know this guy. Up and coming journalist. There are also a number of wrestlers who have yet to make it to TV who are out with injuries. There are those who have blamed the current workouts that are putting the talent through as being counterproductive due to all the injuries. One person noted the new strength and conditioning coach has talent lifting heavy all the time, and there's a feeling that heavy lifting puts any stress on knees, shoulders, or backs, which is counterproductive for a wrestling style that also puts much of the same stress on them. The former coach was about doing athletic drills and trying to develop explosiveness, and the complaints are now that it's more about increasing strength in different ways by going heavy. So what do you think about this new? We're celebrating the 10 years of the Performance Center this year, and as we do that, they are having constant injury issues left and right. A bunch of people, women's wrestlers, out with ACL tears. What do you think? What the fuck is happening over in NXT?
10 years of the Performance Center, 2 stars total, and a lot of ruins got people along the way.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not good. It's troubling in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
it's really disconcerting.
you got to ask yourself what and I feel like after kind of the most recent injuries, you gotta change it up. Like, listen, one's one's like, okay,
Well, it
things
happens.
happen.
It's a sport,
2, right? It happens. 3, folks. 4, folks. 5, guys, wake up. 6. All right, what are we doing here? 7, hello, are we gonna stop? 8. You'd hope there's a limit eventually.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna blame the I won't blame the Indy Hartwell one on that. I watched her foot pretty much snap on a move.
No, that was a different situation.
Yeah. It just doesn't help there.
Yeah.
Adding up causals there. But in all seriousness, like, this is really bad. This is very bad that you are continuously having brutal knee injuries to
Similar, not just like knee
It's
injuries, but it's like
ACLs,
it's
right?
similar injuries across the
Yeah.
board. That
So
is a
obviously,
training issue.
yeah, it is a training issue. Like, Sol Ruca was the big one that I think really is when people started to realize it, because Sol Ruca, of course, has been kind of a standout from NXT. She's kind of been like the biggest standout from the world of NXT these days. I feel like I see her clips every week.
Yeah.
Some people will yell about them, be like, "This isn't that good." I'm like, I don't know. It's pretty cool to me. I mean, I'm not watching the matches yet because she's wrestled 4 matches in her life.
I'm still waiting on Sol Ruca to hit her finisher on a different turnbuckle. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Well, we'll have to see. The thing with torn ACL is you kind of dramatically you don't know how you'll come back either. But anyways, like, that was the limit, and it's you need to change training. You can't have people training to get injured. You have them training to not get injured. That's the whole point of training. That's the whole point of doing this.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're essentially training them to a point where their bodies are giving out on them because you're putting too much pressure on them one way or the other, it's a problem.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even have to have this conversation. And I feel like, one person gets note, you would hope, in that company, and they'd be like, all right, we gotta change it up now. Sol Ruca feels like the one that probably woke them up, truthfully.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, she's top prospect. This isn't good.
I was trying to think of, like, the only other person that probably was big enough was, like, Nikita Lyons, but I think she was one of the first ones, so I think that didn't really click up for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because it's also like it's at a time where you have all these women injured, you have all these people injured, and then you're drafting already like 5 or 6 people from NXT.
I think they drafted 4 women:
Indy Hartwell, Isla Dawn, Alba Fire,
Zoe Stark.
4 women.
Those are
one of them is your champion. 3 of them are your champions. 3 of them are your champions. And then on top of that, you got JD McDonough, Von Wagner as a free agent for some reason.
Yeah. Apollo Crews
coming back to Raw. Good luck, man.
Is that it? That might be it.
I'm running through everything in my head. I think that's
it.
I think that might be it. That's 7 people. And we still have one more day of drafts coming up.
One more day of drafts where more people are going to be drafted.
Yeah. So it's rough. It is a rough territory. And I'd love to, by the way, I'd love to come around to this idea that, like, When do you think head booker of NXT Shawn Michaels knew that who he was losing? You know what I mean? when did he find out? Oh, this is who I'm losing on my NXT roster, because he had a title match on Tuesday, and this pay-per-view happens on next Saturday. He has one show to change everything so that he can have something after Backlash.
Notably, the NXT Women's title was supposed to change hands, which reportedly
it was originally supposed to be Indy Hartwell, and then when she got injured, they changed it to Tiffany Stratton, and then when she came back, they decided to go with Indy.
They should have just put the belt on Tiffany.
Yeah, in hindsight, 100%. If I'm Shawn Michaels, I'm showing up on Friday at SmackDown, hearing that my women's title, who's also injured, by the way, I can't believe an injured person's getting drafted.
It's like, well, for me personally, I think they should have changed the title anyways, but that's besides the point. Like, with or without Indy Hartwell being healthy,
agreed.
Whatever. It does really feel like he didn't learn until it happened.
No.
Or like probably the day he got there, obviously.
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, well, how do you book this? They've already kind of booked away around the tag titles.
You took the top of my entire women's division, a women's division that is not, pun intended, I guess, is crippling almost every single week for these stupid ass trainers.
Yeah.
It is a issue that is happening in NXT right now, and it's just like, oh yeah, well, let's just draft more of your people. I mean, who knows what's going to happen on Monday? Is Braun Breaker gone? Is Carmelo Hayes gone? Is Grayson Waller gone? Your men's division gone? Like, what are you going to do? Is Gallus gone? What are you going to do without Gallus, Sean?
So, some may say it's bad,
and others worse.
It's really bad, and I mean, the Performance Center, we could have an entire hour conversation about the Performance Center, and its 10-year history of not making enough stars. And I think that's not just the Performance Center's fault. There's just a lot of blame on booking at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
But they need to fix it. They need to fix it ASAP, because there's a lot of talent. Listen, I've said this before on the show. I think the women's division in NXT has a lot more potential than the men's side, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're all getting injured, potential starts to go out the window. And they still have a lot of women that are talented, and I'm shy. Here's the thing, though, right? Monday, at the end of Monday, when the draft's all over, who the hell knows is going to be left, because they didn't take any of the rumored people yet.
No. No, they haven't.
Everyone that's been rumored to be taken, like Cora Jade and
Braun
and people like that,
Grayson
not
Waller.
A single one's been touched yet.
No.
And I'm sure they will, because if they're calling this many people up, it does feel like they're replenishing the main roster now, which you should. You have a lot of young guys like that.
I don't know. I would personally be terrified if you call up right now in a moment where the company is probably going to cut a bunch of people.
Well, you say that, but that's because these people getting called up are replacing the people that are going to get cut.
Oh, because the people that are going to get cut are more expensive than the NXT roster people coming up. Yeah. Interesting. You know what's another thing that I think what you just said is a fantastic point, and we should keep an eye on that. I think number two, another thing, a trend I noticed from the draft. Now we're in draft talk, apparently. Another thing I noticed from the draft is a bunch of European talents getting called up, right? You have JD McDonough, you have the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, others to be named probably. That I just saw that and I thought that was interesting, because I thought to myself, we're trying to redo NXT Europe, right? Who is going to be in NXT Europe if we're calling up, these women's tag team champions, calling up JD McDonough, calling up, who are we?
I'm starting to think we're not.
Who are we building NXT Europe around?
Blair Davenport.
Where's she?
Where the hell is Blair Davenport?
Mako Satomura. I guess we could still do that. No, isn't Blair Davenport injured? I feel like she might be injured.
I don't think she is though. Like
Yeah.
she had the one match and then she disappeared forever. Maybe
Yep.
she was injured, but by now, not a chance.
Yeah. We got Mako sitting around.
Yeah, Mako wasting away doing nothing.
We got Ilya
Uh,
Dragunov. You can still use
I think
him.
he's getting called up too.
I also think he's gonna get called up. Tyler Bate. I think there's a good chance he gets called up.
All these people should be called up, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, right? I think NXT Europe's dead. So that's fine.
Yeah.
I thought they were dead for a while. That's why they released the entire company of talent, which is a good thing for the indies because the indies over there are starting to heat up finally.
Yeah. There's also like 2 guys that won out that would probably be a part of NXT Europe.
Yeah, they were like, get us the fuck out of here. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, but
yeah. The roster in WWE is going to look wild. I don't know, 6 months from now.
yeah, I mean, hey, if we go off of Rover, we're gonna get um the cuts one Friday. He's guessed every Friday for the past month. So I mean, eventually he'll be right. If you say it enough, you'll be right eventually.
That's true. That's true. Let's move on to the other bits of news that we had. The WWE lawsuit that was not, I was going to say announced. That's not really how lawsuits are. Filed. That's probably better. A former writer, Brittany Abrahams, has filed a suit against WWE in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of New York on Monday. She was accusing the company of releasing her after she objected to multiple instances of, quote, offensively racist and stereotypical jargon used in WWE scene scripts. The suit lists as defendants SmackDown Vice President Ryan Callahan, former writers Chris Dunn and Mike Heller, Vice President Christine Luberano, and writer Jen Pepperman, which is a fantastic last name. But that's besides the point. So the documents basically talk about a bunch of different instances where Brittany Abrahams and other wrestlers that are enlisted in the suit that felt uncomfortable regarding what they felt was offensively racist and stereotypical jargon. Bianca Belair saying that she was scripted to say, don't make me take my earrings and beat your ass. That was the quote. Multiple times, and she kept saying, I don't want to say this line. Brittany Abraham said, can we stop having her say this? There was 3 different times where she tried to say it. Because Belair said that make her sound ghetto. There was the alleged storyline with Reggie was going to be dressed and dragged, but then also a different storyline where he would have been hunted down by the Australian hunter Shane Haste, and a crocodile hunter type gimmick for fun. There was the secret storyline where Mansoor, the Muslim wrestler from Saudi Arabia, the country you have a multi-million-dollar deal, your biggest deal in the world, you're going to say that this Saudi Arabia guy was the quote behind the 9/11 attacks
at the age of 6 years old.
Yeah, the age of 6 years old. That's awful. You have all this stuff, and then eventually Abrahams, of course, apparently had a lot of instances where she tried to speak up for the wrestlers and was against a lot of this jargon. And then the company, quote, pretextually terminated her for taking home a special WrestleMania 38 branded chair in April. Her lawyers argued that doing so is a common practice. She was told doing so was okay, and white male writers were not punished for the same offense. It just happened to be Brittany Abraham. So what do you think about this whole lawsuit? Obviously, the juicy details are in the storylines that were pitched several different times. But what do you think about this, and how do you think this fares for WWE?
I mean, they'll be fine. They're WWE, so I'm not really watching.
Sadly, she's gonna get it's not gonna go to trial, and she'll get a bunch of money, and that's gonna be the end of it, probably.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Succession, so I would know. I've also watched WWE for the past, how old am I? 20 years. Give or take. Like I've seen how these things go. They're just gonna push it off. Like out of all the things that they've dealt with over the past year and how they've bounced back, their storylines being racist is like that's just something that it's not the first time, right?
Yeah,
it's not the first time for them, and it won't be the last as long as Vince is around.
Noob in the chat also wrote out, what about most recently a storyline regarding Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose? I don't know if you heard about that one, but that was they were feuding with Asuka. You may remember years ago, I remember a segment where Sonya Deville was like very playful with Mandy Rose's hair. I think this is what it was going to lead to. It was like they were feuding with Asuka, and then Sonya Deville would take a kiss from Asuka, and then take a kick from Asuka, then kiss Mandy Rose, or Mandy Rose would kiss Sonya Deville, fallen, and then they would become a couple. And it was this whole thing where Stephanie McMahon like called up Glad to make sure it was okay to do this storyline, which I guess that's good. If you're gonna do it, you called up Glad. I guess that's fine. But yeah, there was like this whole other storyline with, they have, obviously the suit is about more like racial things, but that's a more sexuality based storyline.
It's bad, right? It's just let's just say it like it is. It's bad.
Yeah.
Like there's a way to look at WWE's thinking, and this is where I think they think that they're a TV show, like a regular TV show sometimes, right? And that they're hiring actors to do this rather than wrestlers, human beings who are here to wrestle, right? Like I think that's what they have in mind sometimes, because they'll see like a TV show that does like one of these things. It's like, oh, let's just have our wrestlers do that. No, you can't do that, because these are human beings that signed up to wrestle. They didn't sign up to be your shitty characters one way or the other. I mean, they did. That's part of signing contract, but they didn't sign up to have to deal with this stuff, right? And I think that's kind of the big takeaway here. Obviously, it sucks, and obviously, it's a shame that we sit here and we know nothing's going to happen about it. I feel bad for anyone that had to deal with even these pitches, right? The writer that put this out there, but also the wrestlers that even were asked about it. The fact Mansoor had to hear anything like that, I don't know if he even got to him. Maybe this is how it got to him.
Well,
still,
we also have to
disgusting.
Remember. Sorry, I forgot that key other part about that Mansoor pitch. It was he had a secret, and he was trying to also be in a romantic relationship with Zelina Vega, who famously, I believe it was Zelina Vega, because if I'm not mistaken, the worst part about it, so you have the Mansoor thing.
Oh, I know.
But then Zelina Vega, with what happened to her father, was going to be part of the same storyline.
That was
the pitch.
Make more sense, I guess, technically, even though none of this makes sense. Yeah, that's shitty. This is all shitty. This sucks.
And also, like, all of this is being pitched in, like, 2020, 2021. Like, you also have to remember the context of these pitches, right? These pitches are happening during the pandemic, during peak Black Lives Matter protests. And then we have people in the back pitching racially charged based jargon, storylines, a guy hunting a guy hunting down a black guy. Like, you have these pitches happening during peak Black Lives Matter protests. It is insane. And I think, like, people are forgetting that context. That's what's happening in the world while this is happening. The whole retribution gimmick, that's also happening. That made it through. I'm sure one of these writers pitched retribution as well. I'm going to take that stab in the dark.
Worse at one point.
Yeah, I'm going to take the stab in the dark that was it. Remember, during the pandemic and all that time, Shane Haste was a crocodile hunter. No one knew. He just suddenly became a hunter. It was in motion, and it just never fell all the way through.
This company's bad.
It stinks, and it stinks that even, and just it shows emblematically, like, the culture of the writing team, right, that is in this company, and what pitches might make it across the desk, how much stuff almost makes it to TV, right? And it's just frustrating to see, like, even within the worldly context that is, 2020, 2021, 2022, that there are still people that fucking come up with this shit and then dare call it entertainment. It's frustrating. And she fucking Brittany Abrahams, fucking get the bag, girl. Get the fucking bag. That's what I want. I want her to get that money from WWE, and she deserves it because this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Yeah. I'm angry. I got suddenly very angry and heated about it.
You did. You got fired up there. Whew. I just like to finish this by saying this company stinks. None of it came as a surprise to me, unfortunately, when I read it all. And it's never gonna end.
Anyways, WWE Backlash. That's the transition.
In Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Backlash first, and then review Dontaku? Not Dontaku, but Road 2 and Satsumi, or what do you want to do?
Of course, I want to talk Backlash.
Of course, we want to do Backlash. Why not? It's WWE.
How else would I talk the show of the year for WWE?
WWE Backlash coming out of
by a celebrity,
coming at you live from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I am intrigued by this show. I think the card has elements that are interesting for sure, but I think
it's a better card than usual.
Yeah, it's
their shitty shows.
That's fair on these B tier shows. Let's get to it. Do you want to go? Let's go match by match. We got the Raw Women's Title match: Bianca Belair and Io Sky. We know Bianca is going to SmackDown, so this is interesting. I think this makes the match more interesting. Now, granted, we'll see what happens with Io Sky. Io Sky also already got drafted. She got drafted to SmackDown as well. Okay, this match doesn't matter as much. Bianca Belair, Io Sky for the Raw, eventually the SmackDown Women's Title match.
Obviously, it's a good title match. Io getting the big title match. Yeah, I know it's a B pay-per-view, but still getting to step up into the spot against Bianca Belair and what those two styles are able to kind of contrast will make this a even more exciting match. I expect this to maybe be the match. It'll be top 3 on the night easily, I think. Depending how a ridiculous street fight goes. But it should be great. It could be as good as any women's match we've seen in WWE this year.
I completely agree. I think this match is great. I think this is good timing for this match in a weird way. Like in this weird, I'm getting the hiccups all of a sudden. In this weird, like timing, this weird, like weird period where like we're mid draft and nothing is really in effect post Backlash. It's good to just have like a match that fully feels like this is just going to be like a workhorse match of crazy cool athletic shit from both of these women. That's what it feels like.
It's fresh.
Yeah, it feels fresh. I would like to not have any damage control involvement, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are. So I don't know.
Based on the story, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't, though. Too.
That's fair. Do you also feel like they will continue the damage control storyline?
I'm sure Bayley might cost Io.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we're going. Which, I mean, if Io versus Bayley is your direction, it's not a bad direction to be going. Dakota Kai kind of feels like the backup to both of them.
Yeah.
Especially now.
You mean the pin eater? The pin eater.
Yeah, that's what she is. She's been that the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this should be really good. It's actually a match I'm excited for because I think they faced off in NXT, they probably did on TV once or twice, but like this is a big spot, so they'll actually go all out, which is great. And I'm sure Io with her first big titles match on the main roster, she'll like we saw at WrestleMania, right? In that brutal, trios match, it was her that kind of made everything work, or should I say, make everyone look better?
Yes.
And Bianca doesn't need that, but she's going to. It should be really good.
I'm going to correct a noob in the chat. Noob said Bianca might as well drop the title since she's drafted to SmackDown. Noob, Io Sky has been drafted to SmackDown. This match doesn't matter.
And they're just going to trade the belts in the middle of the ring like they love to do.
Yeah.
You know what they should do? They should just have like on Raw and SmackDown after Backlash, they should just have them both show up as if nothing happened and they just had new colored titles. I think that'd be hilarious.
I think that'd be great. I think that'd be funny.
I think that's how they should have done it long ago. Like, I think that's how they should have. Like, let's not have a big like passing of the title moment. Let's just walk in and be like, all right, cool. They love doing this, by the way. They love switching the titles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What a ridiculous thing.
I agree. Well, let's talk about that match. The SmackDown Women's Title match: Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. It will probably after the show become the Raw Women's Title match, and that would be that. I think Rhea Ripley is going to easily retain here. I think there's no way in hell Zelina Vega is winning this title.
No.
I don't think there's any possibility. And then maybe I think what this honestly just doing is they're going to then have the title switch at some point, either after this match or after the Rhea Ripley match or the Bianca Belair match, either here on Raw, just so that they can get the image of Bianca and Rhea together, because obviously that is who they are setting up as their next like huge stars in the women's division. So let's get the visual of them in the ring again together to do that. I think that's what we're going for.
Yeah, I think this should be pretty good. I think the funny thing about Zelina Vega, right, for someone who doesn't wrestle like at all, like right, she's been a manager pretty much for the past 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But anytime she does wrestle, she's good. Right?
Yes.
You know, she's got the lucha style
Yeah.
to her. I think it should be pretty good, even if I do think Rhea Ripley runs through her, which she should, by the way. That's the whole point of Rhea Ripley these days.
Yeah.
She's one of your biggest stars. But it's a good first defense, just like I think Io's a bigger match, obviously, and I think a lot of people feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Zelina Vega got it, everyone's like, wait, what? But it's a good one and continues that storyline as well. It's pretty easy when you think about it. And she's from Puerto Rico, or she has Puerto Rican
Heritage.
Heritage. So I think that should, probably bring the crowd into it a little bit more. So it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously what her
Yeah, that was
challenge
absolutely the mindset. It just helps that they were in a feud too.
Exactly. Singles match: Seth Rollins versus Omos.
The free agent.
Free agent almost. Versus Seth Rollins, who is unsigned as of today. Yeah, I mean, I think between this match and the Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes match, which we'll talk about in a minute, I think this is sort of like the idea of like a unofficial number one contenders match, tournament thing, for the new world title. With Cody being drafted to Raw, one would assume that maybe Seth is also going to go to Raw. That was the rumor that he was going to go to Raw. Becky's there already, so that's a good.
Cody's going to Raw.
Yeah, that's a good tell. Brock, who the hell knows? Probably a free agent. Probably will be a free agent. So yeah, that feels like maybe like a Seth Rollins overcomes Omos, and then Cody Rhodes. We'll talk about him, but I think this is easily Seth Rollins overcoming Omos. That's my read.
Yeah, Seth Rollins with Cody is their most over wrestler right now.
Yeah.
It's actually I say this every time I talk about Seth Rollins. It's actually unbelievable how over he is, and that's not me taking away from anything. Like his entire like past year has been losing, yet he is unbelievably white hot.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, he has a great team song to sing to, but
that always helps.
It does, but it's insane how over he is. He's obviously, I think, the top option for a lot of people to win the big gold belt. Now that we have one, by the way, if everyone wants to hear our thoughts about that, we talked about that on our bonus episode. We're not going to talk about the big gold belt this time around.
No. No.
Well, I mean, by default, we are now, but
yeah. But the introduction,
right? To me, it's like Seth's the top option. I know people saw big gold belt, saw Cody be first pick, and they're like, "Well, there you go." I don't think Cody's going to win.
I don't either.
I don't think Cody's going to win that title. I think that's part of whatever weird ass story they've decided for Cody Rhodes. And that's okay. I don't think he should win the big gold belt, but I do think Seth does, or is at least in the conversation. So him being Omos feels like a must. And Omos is only on this card because of trying to please one man. So
well, let's talk about that Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes match. I don't know. I don't think Cody winning here. I don't think Cody's gonna win here. I don't think I think the storyline is they're gonna put him on a losing streak, and then he is going to get red hot in the tournament. I guess. I think we were doing a tournament. Did they announce a tournament even for this world title?
Don't even know. I think so. I think the whole night has to be a tournament.
Oh yeah, because they're crowning it a Night of Champions. But is it like a tournament to get to Night of Champions, or I don't know what's happening.
No idea. No idea.
Should be. I feel like we're gonna do a losing streak and have Brock destroy Cody. I don't see any world where Cody beats Brock here. Like, and I don't even know if he should. I don't even know if he should beat Brock, to be quite honest.
So my comeback is that he is John Cena. And when I say he is John Cena, he's going to win a match that's like, Brock would make sense winning here.
Sure.
Because I think Brock winning does make more sense, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's more than just the one match, right? At Backlash of all places to have it. Because you have like a big Money in the Bank pay-per-view, obviously, in the UK. You could always put a second one on. But I think, and that's because of the Cena comparison, right? Remember when Cena lost to, was it The Miz at WrestleMania because of The Rock or whatever, and then Brock came back? No, Cena lost to The Rock.
Yes,
and it's okay. So Cody lost to Roman Reigns, and then Brock came out, took Cena out, kept beating him up week after week, got in his head. Felt like Brock in his big comeback match should have won, and he lost because he was John Cena.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like could be the same story here because it just, that's exactly how they're booking Cody. They're booking him exactly like John Cena right now. Like, it's almost to a T, and that's why I just think Cody wins, because I think Cody's gonna win every match he's in except when the big title's on one.
Yeah, I think that's also totally possible.
But I can see him lose too. So I guess that's the one thing I never saw with Cena. Cena was always winning. At least with Cody, I could see him lose. Like, I could see your side of it, obviously, too. The Cena part, I can't get it out of my head now.
Yeah, right? I think this is totally an argument for him just go on a losing streak. You know what I mean? Like,
it would be interesting. It would be more interesting, probably.
It'd be wild for him to just go on a losing streak, and I think that'd be a bad idea. But I think I don't know. I think it'd be
big
stupid.
Match losing streak.
Yeah, big match losing streak. I think that's a stupid idea to do with Cody. But I
don't think they'll do it.
It's Brock, and it's at a certain point you're just like, I don't know, because like it was more believable of John Cena and Brock at the time because Brock was still new, or just returned to the company. John Cena was still in the midst of his Super Cena days, and this is Cody, who has still only been returned to this company for like a year, a year and a half, and Brock has been in this company since the Cena days. So I don't know. I think there's a total possibility that Brock wins here. I think that'd be stupid. I think Cody, if you're going to make him the world champion, or make him believable to possibly be the world champion, then, which by the way, I don't think it's going to be him, then he needs to beat Brock here. So I don't know. Yep. I think you should have Cody win. Actually, you should have Cody win, but it would be hilarious when he probably loses.
I think it's gonna be funnier when he like gets hit with like 2 F5s, kicks out of them, hits 75, what's Crossroads, and
I want to see Cody hit the Crossroads of Brock. I just want to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I do want to say this. This is probably your main event, by the way.
I don't know. I know.
Maybe I think Bad Bunny could main event.
I think Bad Bunny's gonna be the main event.
But almost would be shocking if he didn't, just because of the scenario. But if it's Cody and Brock, I wouldn't be shocked either.
Yeah.
Since it has first billing on the website.
Yeah.
But you never know. I think either one's fine.
I think
They're
knowing
both gonna be
Brock, I think
fun.
knowing Brock is the opener.
Oh yeah, that too. This should be great. Assuming it goes more than 10 minutes, this should actually be a great match. But yeah, and here's how I think Cody gets booked.
Okay.
Personally, I think he wins this match.
Okay.
He gets to the finals of the tournament.
Or,
Loses
or whatever's happening with
whatever the fuck it is. He's in the title match for the world title. Loses to maybe Seth or something.
Sure.
Can't get the big one.
Yeah.
Then goes to Money in the Bank
in London, July 1st.
Wins the briefcase.
Nice.
Lays out his challenge for SummerSlam against Roman Reigns.
August 5th in Detroit.
Yeah. I think that's the better story to go with because Cody and Roman now on different brands, right? Everyone's like, oh, I mean, that it's not happening now. I was like, I think that's the point. Like that's the entire point. They were separated.
Yeah.
Is now everyone's gonna be like, oh, it's not gonna. Nah, to me, it is gonna happen. That's the whole point of the big gold belt. That's the whole point of the.
Can we talk about that end game though of that pitch?
Of all the titles being on the same brand again? Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So that's the end game of that pitch. That pitch ends with what? Cody winning and then all 3 world titles on one brand? That's the ending?
So by default,
at some point someone has to trade brands.
Right. So like by default, would Raw just lose their top pick? Because that's what I think would happen.
At the end of all of this, the number 1 Raw draft pick, Cody Rhodes, leaves and goes to SmackDown.
That's how it used to happen back in like when the brand split had like slight meaning.
Yeah.
Like when Edge won the World Heavyweight title in like 2007.
Yeah.
When he cashed in Money in the Bank, he switched brands.
Yes. That's possible that he does that. I think
you have to.
I think Cody wins the Money in the Bank and loses at SummerSlam, wins the Royal Rumble again, and then wins at WrestleMania in Philly.
Also possible. But by then I have many feelings Cody's not going to be cheered anymore. If you can let you wait that long. But hey, whatever. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Should be a good match between him and Brock.
Other matches on the show, we got a 6-man tag. Kevin Owens, Matt Riddle, and Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline. Jimmy and Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa.
This would be more exciting if it wasn't Solo Sikoa.
Whoa, are we a Solo Sikoa hater over here?
Well, do you remember the 6-man last year that main evented? It was Roman and the Usos versus like Drew and who the hell was it? Randy and Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
That was great. It was like a PWG type thing.
Yeah, it was really good. It was surprisingly good.
Yeah. That could be the same thing here because we have Matt Riddle, Sammy, and Kevin and the Usos.
Yeah.
And if Solo's kind of, but Solo's character like takes me out of most things, so I do worry about it a little bit. Like, oh, this guy, he has a spike, and this is how you push a new guy to be like dominant. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're pushing it wrong. He's just like he doesn't jump off the page for me. But in a chaotic match, which I expect this to be, he could shine a little bit more. That's how I've noticed him. Like in the street fights, he's usually a bit better. This should be fun.
Yeah,
I would probably kick off the show with this.
Agreed, especially if they're trying to go for that PWG, trio style tag match. I think
I like when they do these on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I get what you mean by Solo Sikoa, but I also think that
he's good for where he is.
He's good for where he's at.
Wise,
exactly. He's good for where he's at, and he is the sixth man of 5 can be workhorses. I think he'll be hidden quite well. He'll either be hidden well or stick out like a sore thumb, and I think the guys in this match are smart enough to hide him, and the producers are hopefully smart enough to hide him.
And if he does some like big powerhouse stuff,
exactly,
it'll work.
Yeah, you want to shine.
It should be good. That's a funny thing about this card. All the matches we've talked about, except for maybe Seth and Omos, but it'll be entertaining at the very least.
Yeah. I think Rhea
They
Ripley's
all should
Zelina
be,
Vega doesn't look good, but it'll probably be a sleeper hit.
yeah, it should all be pretty good, like wrestling wise, which is nice. There's nothing on this that I'm gonna get like egregiously mad at.
No. U.S. title match, triple threat.
Never mind.
That's why I timed it there. Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed.
I watched Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed like beat the snot out of each other a few weeks ago. And some people were like, "Oh, that was bad." I was like, "What are we watching?
God.
Like, what are you people watching? That was great. I just saw two beefy guys hit each other nonstop and get counted out, which I guess that's fine." Bronson Reed, for all things considered, has done a good job at actually feeling a little bit meaningful all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Austin Theory is winning, so what does this matter to me?
We're gonna spin this off into a Bronson Reed Bobby Lashley feud on SmackDown.
Austin Theory stinks, by the way. Like, he is stinky. Like when we did the draft the other day, I picked Gunther first because I didn't want Austin Theory.
You forced me to have Austin Theory immediately.
He stinks.
Mm-hmm.
He stinks. He couldn't be more generic if you tried.
Yeah. I also just realized that Gunther got drafted to Raw, so Austin Theory's going to go to SmackDown. Bobby Lashley's already at SmackDown. So Bronson Reed may or may not be a SmackDown wrestler as well. They'll continue the feud, maybe. We'll see.
Raw looks good. Raw went with my mindset of kind of work ratey.
Mm-hmm.
They went Gunther, Cody, Drew, Seth, presumably. Who else did they add?
Becky Lynch, Matt Riddle, The Miz, work rate. Superstar.
Listen. We all have bumps in the road. That was our bump in the road.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke, well,
Indy, currently injured.
All right. I'm talking about the men's side.
Apollo Crews, Dexter Lumis.
AJ Styles came back this week. Remember that?
Yeah, he's on SmackDown. He's on SmackDown now. Dexter Lumis, JD McDonough.
All right. Time out. You're naming all the people from the show I didn't watch. Okay.
Viking Raiders.
We'll see how the rest of the top, and that's kind of what happened though, right? We talked about like the person with all the draft picks at the end. You kind of have to, like Raw, because you have to pick so many people. You just end up with the entire main event, WWE main event scene, rather than the actual main event scene.
At a certain point, Raw, you start booking the Hulu main event show or the Peacock main event show. At a certain point, you're like, all right, who would be interesting to have on main event to challenge random ass NXT wrestlers?
Yep.
So that's what happens at a certain point. But Austin Theory will probably retain. And then I think this would be the main event just because of who's in it and where we are. San Juan Street Fight, Damian Priest versus Bad Bunny. I think this match will be awesome. Crazy. The crowd, I can imagine the crowd going fucking nuts, right? I think the crowd will go crazy. I think this will be a fantastic crowd for this match specifically. They should play. You know when they play Wild Thing, the entire Anarchy in the Arena, or like half of it, they should play Bad Bunny's music the entire time. Yeah.
People would be losing their shit. It would be amazing.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think this has all the potential in the world to be a really good match. Bad Bunny is surprisingly good. The crowd's gonna be super into it.
This is gonna be like the biggest moment of his life.
Yeah.
And this is the most popular artist in the world.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be on like all these shows talking like, yeah, it was the greatest moment of my life. I don't care about all this singing shit. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I expect nonstop chaos from like LWO and Judgment Day. Yes. I expect all the bullshit.
Yep.
And that's okay. Because it's going to be entertaining as hell. I'm happy they went with the singles match. I thought they were just going to do a trios match or a tag team match.
Yeah.
Them just going full on singles with Bad Bunny. It's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
Guy's going to take some stupid ass bumps. I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is great. This should main event.
The guy's gonna do like a destroyer through a table or the announce table or something to Damian Priest. It's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait for it, man. Or he's gonna take a choke slam off of something.
Oh yeah, the energy is gonna be fantastic.
Yeah,
like, that alone will make this match great.
yeah. I think this match has the potential. For me, I think this match has the potential to be like 3.5 or something, right? And then I think the crowd will add another quarter to half a star, to the match to make it up, maybe up to a 4. You know what I mean? I think that's the potential for this match. Ultimately, I think the crowd is going to be fantastic.